Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today, we're here to talk with you about an episode, about something that we were requested to view by a viewer.
Now, I know, this is going to shock some of you, but not all of our viewer requests take over a year. We're trying to get better, trying to get more prompt. So, Jess.
So, viewer VidaDeMinimalismo?
Sure.
Moso? Asked us because we had at time.
Is that minimalissimo?
Maybe.
Jess in words.
I don't speak English.
She doesn't.
She
doesn't write English. She doesn't write English or read English either.
She does a magnificent approximation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway, we had a viewer who noted that we, of course, throw in pop culture references, including a number of Simpsons ones.
Don't!
And they asked if we would go and talk about the episode from season 16, episode 21, The Father, the Son, and the Holy Guest Star, which is the episode in which Bart gets kicked out of public school, goes to Catholic school, goes to convert. Homer also is interested in converting. And then, Marge and Reverend Lovejoy and Ned Flanders have to go and kidnap them to bring them back, which is especially funny because the person playing the priest voice has a particular set of skills yes. when someone he loves is kidnapped.
Everyone's favorite Irish actor, Liam Neeson.
I mean, there's probably a lot of Irish actors.
Nope, everyone's favorite. There's a lot of Irish actors, but he's everyone's favorite. He just is.
All right.
So,
especially about their Catholic heaven, mm-hmm. and also Marge's issues with them converting. Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely certain I agree with you on your favorite on everybody's
favorite.
I won't get into this here, but I am going to lodge a
bonus episode. It's going to be great. Okay, so before this request came in and we watched the episode as research, I was only familiar with the part of it, the little clip showing the distinction between Protestant Heaven and Catholic Heaven. It was interesting to watch the entire episode and get more of the context.
Yes.
I have watched it
multiple times.
But still.
And love it every single time.
Largely remember the Catholic versus Protestant Heaven.
Yeah.
So, Catholic versus Protestant Heaven. Protestant Heaven is essentially a country club where you talk about not being our sort. Catholic Heaven is a series of brawls.
I mean, not necessarily. There were some brawls, but there were also parties going on. There was a Mexican fiesta. There were some Italians that were having a nice Italian family dinner. There were a bunch of Irish people that were just punching the piss out of each other, but
But it's important to note there's no contradiction in Catholic Heaven between having a brawl and having a party.
No, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
I mean, Homer hits himself with the piano stick and is enjoying it because it doesn't hurt in heaven.
No, honestly, I think really the point to be made, at least for the Catholic Heaven, mm-hmm. is that all the people were different, mm-hmm. but they were all going and enjoying themselves in a way which was not necessarily contra-orthodox.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Each individual culture found expression, and yet there was still a harmony between them all. Yeah. And not just when they all river danced together.
Whereas in the Protestant Heaven, it was very much, shall we say, whitewashed?
It's a place where they literally say, they're not our sort.
Yes, they did actually use those words.
Which, yeah, that's kind of spot on.
And they seem to be having fun, but like...
No, they don't have fun.
It felt more like this is what we have
mm-hmm.
for fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, we tell ourselves that it's fun. It's not actually fun.
Yes, this is what we have to do.
Yeah. Well, because it's appropriate, it's proper.
Mm-hmm.
Where it also
playing badminton,
yeah, which can be fun, but not when you're in WASP Heaven. Now, it should be noted, Jesus is accurately depicted as being in Catholic Heaven.
Yes. At one point, Marge tells the people in Protestant Heaven that
she wants to see the boss.
She found out that her family did not go to Protestant Heaven, and they are actually in Catholic Heaven.
Yeah, in her vision, Bart and Homer are over in Catholic Heaven.
and she really wants to talk with the with the manager. To which the person in Protestant Heaven that she's speaking with is like, "Oh, yeah, he's over there."
And then you see our blessed Savior being tossed up and down by Bart and Homer.
Yep.
He's like on a sheet, and they're bouncing him, even after he begs them to stop.
But in like that way of like, please stop. But if you don't stop, that's cool too.
Yeah. So, but again, I found this to be totally accurate.
Yeah.
That's what the church is. It's worldwide. It's wild. It's woolly. There are expressions of it that you won't even recognize because they're new to you and not of your particular culture. And yet all harmonious and all there to honor the Lord Jesus. So, Catholic Heaven.
Great big dance number at the end.
Is there a great big dance number at the end? So, that's Catholic Heaven. Let's talk about Marge's objections to Bart and Homer converting.
So, Marge's arguments for why Bart and Homer shouldn't be Catholic.
Because everyone knows that they broke from the Western branch of the North American Presbyterian Lutheran Church over the whole concept of having wet hair in church.
In fairness, that's not Marge. That's Ned and Reverend Lovejoy.
Well, of course she doesn't know that.
Marge's objections are that Catholics have way too many kids, and she's not going to have another 12.
Which I don't think is physically possible, besides the fact that they keep retconning her age.
Yeah.
She also makes comments about the no birth control and the no eating meat on Fridays.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and also her fear that they're going to end up in a much cooler heaven than her.
yes. Well, that's just simple jealousy.
I mean,
And the fact that they're going to a different church, so she has to sit in the pew by herself.
and she gets shamed a lot.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. If you are legitimately concerned that your loved ones are going to go to a cooler heaven than you, provided that cooler heaven doesn't draw them further away from God.
It's heaven. It can't.
I'm just saying that it could be a false heaven, which would therefore draw them away from God.
I apologize. Carry on.
Yeah.
If you think that if you have legitimate concerns that your loved ones are going to end up in a cooler heaven than you, and you are reasonably certain that this is a real heaven, and therefore is as close to God as you can get, realistically speaking,
Yeah.
you might want to ask yourself the question of, why aren't you over there with them?
What you should want is not to pull them out of it, but to get yourself into it.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Don't be like the mother from
The Great Divorce.
The Great Divorce. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be in hell. I'd rather be in hell with my son than not have my son with me.
Yes. And we didn't bother checking to see who the writers were during this time. So it could have been during an era in which a certain, person who's very much ethnically Irish, but probably got the Catholic of, the grandma with the guilt and stuff. Because it's very good at the most obvious stereotypes people have about Catholics.
Or I went to 12 years of Catholic school.
Conan was not still writing for
I
the
didn't
Simpsons
think so,
at this point.
but
So, yeah.
it very much was, the nun with the ruler, the incorrect
the nun
spelling,
with the yardstick.
But, very much still the practice of corporal punishment in the school. Mm-hmm. The cruel nun, Sister Thomasina.
They very much, as much as I enjoyed Liam Neeson's Father Sean, at the same time, he was a very stereotypical. I was a rough hoodlum as a kid, and then suddenly it occurred to me I was living the wrong life, and I went and became a priest. Which I am sure there are actually a number of very good priests who have a story just like that to tell. Mm-hmm. I feel that their story will have more dimension than Father Sean's one, which was made to be very, very surface and stereotypical.
It's an episode of The Simpsons, and we got the Cliff's Notes version.
I understand. Yeah. I'm just saying.
All I know is I appreciate the fact that he has a vision of St. Peter who tells him to sod off.
Yes, that was fantastic.
that was
Sean.
In the heaven was one of the most authentic parts.
Well, that's religion I can get behind.
Isn't it like something like, Sean, you're being a proper wanker?
Yep.
Get with Jesus or sod off.
Or sod off.
That was fantastic. I want St. Peter to. I want to have a vision of St. Peter where he tells me I'm being a wanker and I need to, get my life together or sod off.
Well, according to the episode, you just need to have your father severely beat you
out in front of a pub,
and then you'll see it.
Yeah.
But clearly, the reason why it is so great is because that is what he needed to hear. If he heard the most pious, speaking in, the Shakespearean English Bible versions of things, he'd just be like,
or the message of, but God loves you so much, son. No, he needed to hear, stop being a wanker, follow Jesus, or sod off. God, I firmly believe, God is exactly as subtle as we allow him to be. So, if possible, he'll just nudge your heart, if that'll convert you. If you're a little more obstinate, you may be blinded for 3 days like St. Paul.
I gotta be careful here, right? Because he's as gentle as I will let him be. And on one hand, there's a part of me that, for S&G purposes, wants to go and say, no, let me have it.
The 2x4 of truth is only used for metaphorical purposes and not for actually hitting people.
No, but it's a good demonstration.
Yes.
And
but I feel like we should get back to
yes.
Marge's concerns, because, Marge's concerns are the concerns of all the most stereotypical things. Like,
so
in America, excluding in Lent, you can eat meat on Fridays.
Yeah, it is not a sin to eat meat on Friday. It is recommended that you perform some act of penance on every Friday.
I'm actually going to offer a little bit of an addendum, right? Because you could look at Marge's individual arguments for why they shouldn't be Catholic, and you could draw conclusions from that. But I think, in all reality, there is really just one reason.
Let's look at it holistically.
Why Marge is against them being Catholic. And it's not so much that she necessarily feels that her expression of faith is right. But I think it's more that she is comfortable with her expression of faith. And the expression of faith that they are pursuing would require her to step out of that comfort.
That would explain why she had
and there is no argument that you could give her that would make it okay, because it's not that she has any actual problems with what they're doing, other than the fact that what they're doing is putting a wedge between her and them, and she's not willing to cross that gap.
I mean, I don't know, because she argued about the, going to a mass is like Simon Says, but no one wins with all the stuff. But if you point out how it's a good workout, maybe she'd like the workout. Like, every leg. If you go to stations, you're getting a leg day every,
As to the Simon Says,
it should be noted, Good Friday service is a little rough.
As to the
By the time you get to the end of the intercessions,
I'm gonna argue
thighs are burning.
I'm gonna argue it's much more like a session of like exercise, like guided exercise kind of a thing, and like a fitness center type of video. Because if it's Simon Says, everybody in church lost. Well, from the moment we got to the end of the prayers following the offertory, everybody goes and kneels down. And at no point in time prior to that did the priest say, Simon Says.
Well, but if we draw out the analogy that it's all Simon Peter says.
The fact that it's in the rubrics means Simon said.
Yeah. Simon has spoken.
All right. I have been proven wrong.
It should be noted, this is for our brother Brian, that I have in fact bested Deacon Ralph Poyo in Simon Says. Because he said the game was over. Simon didn't say the game was over.
Yeah.
That is true. I did like watching how long you stood up until he said, all right, Simon Says.
Winner.
Because that's the important thing to take on a mission.
That is the important thing to win. So, I think Nate has an excellent point about Marge's objection. We love digging into the specific examples, but really, no, it's about the whole package and the fact that Marge she's comfortable where she is.
And like I said, it's not so much that she's convinced that where she is right.
Yeah.
It's just that leaving where she is requires her to change, and she's unwilling to do that.
So then the episode doesn't. The episode ends with something wild, but before that, there's a not entirely accurate, but at least good-hearted ecumenical message that the things that unite Christians, the things that we share in common, both us and our separated brothers and sisters of Protestantism and evangelicalism, the things that unite us are more important than the things that divide us. And we spend a lot of time fighting over the things that divide us, which then weakens the Christian witness in the world.
I feel like in the next episode we're going to post is going to be us making fun of a very bad, attempt by Protestants, just, balance it out.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, like, we agree on more than we disagree with, but they're just so wrong on this.
But this is just wrong. So, Vida, did we answer your questions? Comment below. If we didn't, please let us know what you wanted to know about that we didn't tell you.
Give us more defining criteria if necessary.
And if we didn't, I have to say, it's been 8 years. You should have known at this point that we take your question and we just run off at a tangent until suddenly we're discussing literal apple and oranges.
Much like speaking French. We start on a point, we end kind of...
We... So, give this episode a like, subscribe to our channel to be notified the next time we post a plot, or subscribe to our channel, ring the church bell to be notified the next time we upload a plot. Comment below, and we will try to get back to you in less than a calendar year.
Give us something that you want us to react to.
Seriously.
And Simpsons make an excellent point. While this was a Simpsons episode about church, it doesn't need to be specifically about church. I think it'd be weird to ask us to react to, like, Pulp Fiction. I mean, I'll do it.
I don't know what the dance was, but pretend I'm doing it.
But I'm just saying, if you got something out there that you'd like to get the Popish plot's reaction to, let us know what it is. We'll try and get around to it.
Well, again, all truth. Jesus is truth, so everything that is true speaks of Jesus.
Was Pulp Fiction the one where they had the made-up Bible verse?
Yes.
So it has a religious-y aspect.
There you go.
That it does.
So, until next time,
remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.